Welcome to St. Augustine this evening, the Mike Davis Show. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
Yeah.
Amanda and I both got the memo, the message, the calls from our friends, and we are both wearing green today. So, no, we're not going to a matching leprechaun convention afterwards, but it is St. Patrick's Day, and as somebody with Irish blood and descent, I'm very happy that we celebrate St. Patrick's Day. So, yeah, hope you guys are having fun. Hope you guys are getting to do something that involves alcohol. I don't know why the Irish are accused of doing that. Amanda asked me if I was drinking right now, and I said, no, I wasn't planning on drinking today.
No booze.
Doesn't mean that I won't later. Just means I'm not right now.
It's super annoying that St. Patrick's Day is in Lent. Super annoying.
I think the church did that for a reason.
To save lives.
They the Irish celebrate St. Patrick's Day 325 days a year.
Just outside of Lent.
Just outside the 40 days of Lent.
Yeah.
It took me, I did the math correctly in my head, which was really good because we didn't talk about that. But yeah, so the way I look at it, it's like, yeah, we're good to go.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, to the French, we're keeping the Statue of Liberty.
Pound sand.
That's right. That's right. And as Carolyn Levitt said it today, and other people did, you can thank us twice for the fact that you're not speaking German today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Enjoy that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're keeping the statue.
Love you, mean it. Haha.
And French fries are ours. They never were yours.
They never were.
I like the freedom fries when they were talking about doing that. I always thought that was pretty
because
good.
not your country.
Yeah, if we can rename the Gulf of Mexico, we can definitely still rename French fries.
Yeah. I mean, wasn't it legally renamed? It just didn't stick.
I don't know if it just didn't stick. I remember I ordered a shirt from somebody. I think it was maybe it's LL Bean or one of those companies. And I was on the phone with the person ordering this before you did everything online. And I'm like, I'll take this shirt. This is the color number I want. She goes, oh, you want the French blue? And I said, if you say French one
Never
more
mind.
time, I don't want it. And she just started laughing. I said, I'll take the blue one.
I'll take the Texas cornflower blue. Thank you very much.
I'll take the blue one. And she laughed. I think I was not the first person to tell her that.
Wow.
All right.
Happens.
Let's make some money for our supporters, our sponsors. We love all of them, especially Bozard Ford. Bozard Ford has been in St. Augustine since 1949. Their goal is to make sure your time and experience buying a new or used car is stress-free, fun, and enjoyable. Bozard Ford Lincoln has been the recipient of numerous dealer awards, including being ranked the #1 automotive dealership in the nation by Dealer Rater. They also won back-to-back President's Awards from Ford Motor Company, which is the highest award Ford gives their dealers. All you got to do is go out there and talk to them. Their staff is wonderful. They're fantastic. And go by Ford's Garage. Absolutely amazing, the number of people that are in there. I was in there for lunch a couple of weeks ago. And that thing, the Jiffy Burger, I think it's their most popular sandwich.
Yeah, that's what
their most popular sandwich. But I haven't been drinking today.
The leprechauns made him say it. I mean... All right, Solar Stick. Established in 2006, Solar Stick is a local portable power company proudly committed to American manufacturing, constant innovation, and creating jobs right here in St. Augustine, Florida. Solar Stick's focus on providing solutions for self-sufficiency helps users all over the world complete missions and save lives. Solar Stick, changing lives, saving lives, and reviving American manufacturing. Powell Heating and Air Conditioning, their dedication to customer service has been evident in everything they do. For the 39 years they've been a locally owned business. From the moment they answer your call until the time they leave your home, they are working to make you comfortable and confident about the care and service you receive from Powell. With their fleet of 10-plus trucks, a 15,000 square house warehouse stock. 15,000 square foot.
Amanda hasn't been drinking either.
I'm totally sober, I swear. Warehouse stocked with parts and equipment. They are ready to serve you around the clock. They service all heating and air conditioning brands, and their emergency service is always open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, including nights, weekends, and holidays. I am glad Levi's not here. Call me out.
He might call you out on Wednesday anyway. All right, Moultrie Creek Diner and Anastasia Diner. These neighborhood diners are more than just a place to eat. They are where hospitality blooms and friends gather. Bring your own friends or make new ones. The coffee is always hot, the smiles are genuine, and the food tastes like home. Every meal is a chance to make memories, share stories, and create bonds that last a lifetime. It's not just about the food on the plate, but the community that comes together at the table. Come see us at Moultrie Creek Diner, Anastasia Diner, and tell them Andy sent you. I was there. What morning were we there? Sunday morning?
Yeah.
Yep. We took the grandbaby.
Yep.
He was good. He didn't make a mess. He didn't do anything. So much better than the last. Kids sometimes food goes everywhere, especially when they're 18 months old. But he was amazing. He loved the meal. I cut him off at 2 cups of coffee.
That's probably good.
And
then handed him back to his parents.
No. The reason I didn't let him have any coffee is because we still had him until today.
Yeah.
So I definitely did not give him any coffee.
Using the noggin.
Felt like that was kind of the smartest thing that we could do.
Bobby alluded was sound off this morning. I was at homeschool convention. I couldn't, or homeschool community day. I couldn't listen this morning and this afternoon.
I had work today, so it was a very busy mornings are tough for me. Mondays I always have site meetings and at home again projects that are going on. So those were that's kind of my calling this morning, and then just trying to get everybody going and moving. Yeah. And it was much colder this morning than what I thought it was going to be. Yeah,
it was a little chilly. A little chilly. I almost wore a jacket, but I didn't want to cover my green dress.
I wore my quarter zip this morning because I was like, it's cold. Yeah. So I put that on. I was like, I'll be able to take this off by like noon. Yeah. I kept that on till like 1 o'clock.
I put on shamrock leggings just because it's cold, but I didn't put on a jacket.
I have no shamrock leggings. No? Surprisingly, none whatsoever. Yes, you do have shamrock leggings on.
You know me in my happy pants.
I know you.
Love happy pants.
Yeah, so St. Patrick's Day, big day. One of my favorite pictures of all time of Troy Blevins is in his kilt.
His kilt. I don't know if I still have that.
Oh, and he had his derby hat on, his little Irish hat, and he looked just like a tiny little leprechaun.
I think I downloaded that on the computer back there.
It is my my picture for him on my phone. So every time he calls, I smile.
That's awesome.
It's a leprechaun calling me every single time. So it's awesome.
So we had community day. So I was all excited. I'm Miss Frizzled out. I'm all dressed to theme. And I wish all the kids a happy St. Patrick's Day. And they looked at me sideways. Like most of them had no idea. My daughter mentioned something about it being St. Patrick's Day on our community day. This conversation took place, I think, Saturday. Mm-hmm. And my son just heard St. Patrick's Day, looks at me, I'm not wearing green, and just hauls off and pinches me. And I'm like, you little punk.
He did this on Monday. Saturday?
Yes.
Ides of March.
Dude.
At 2, Brutus.
At 2,
Brutus.
Dude.
I was doing something Saturday. I thought, good. I'm not around anybody today that can kill me.
No.
Not at work. I'm not at a meeting. Darcy was reasonably happy with me. We had the grandbaby all weekend. So, yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, really, really fun
I got
weekend.
to run into you this weekend.
You did. We went to the Flower Expo.
Uh-huh. Epic Behavioral Healthcare.
It's the first time I've ever been there.
Me too.
I will be back. I had a lot of fun. Yeah, I got to swing on a swing. It was so cool.
You were having a lot of fun.
I was.
We were running around.
Xander loves the swing set.
Yeah.
And so the little kids were in the little kids section. Mm-hmm. And so my legs couldn't fit through that. So I just got in the big kid swing and put him on my lap, and he just had a ball. So yes, awesome. It was awesome. I think we went back to the swing set a couple of times.
Yeah.
But no, really, really cool, really fun. Lots of great people out there. A phenomenal event, and I'll be back.
Did you go home with lots of flowers?
No, because we have a home project that's coming up.
Yeah.
And so it's like we got to wait, but we kind of looked at some stuff and said, you know what? Once we know we're like 2 years from now, when we're moved back in, we're buying a bunch of stuff, and then we can plant some things. There's certain fruit trees and things I would love to have.
So we definitely went home with lots of plants. My husband and my son have gotten into, I talked about it a little bit, but having like a forage garden in your yard. And so they've been planting fruit trees, and they really wanted honeysuckle, but honeysuckle online are stupid expensive. And so they were so well priced there. They had some beautiful butterfly bushes. So we got some of those, trying to get the pollinators in our yard so we get more fruit on our trees.
The butterfly bushes are amazing. Those are just
they're gorgeous.
They're gorgeous. They're just really, really cool. They're like the bell kind of shape.
Yeah, they grow like a weed, and they have long conical flowers. It's a long cone of lots of little bitty flowers.
Yeah.
They're so pretty. And so we got some of those. My son, did you see the pitcher plants everywhere?
No.
So they were hanging on like multiple tents.
Okay.
And so it just looked like a hanging plant with like fruit hanging down. It's not a fruit though. It's like this little cup. It's a pitcher. So it's not like the pitcher plants that grow out of the ground
Mm-hmm.
that have like the tall kind of champagne flute sort of pitcher. They have like these little cups, like almost like a ladle. And so my son super wanted that because he just wanted a carnivorous plant. So my mom bought him the
Oh, of course
plant.
your mom did. Yeah. Your mom is super cool.
Yeah. My mom totally bought him that. And then she
Your
was like,
bionic mom.
well, yes, my increasingly more bionic
I
mom.
asked her how she was doing, and I was like, yeah. Like,
yeah, she's in between surgeries.
well, I have this and I have that. And then it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I wanted to blame you for all of it, but some of them, there was no way you could have done that.
New knee, so. She's getting new corneas, and then a new shoulder. We'll get there. We don't have to worry about Elon Musk's robots.
No,
my mom's
we don't.
becoming a robot.
We don't. We're good right now. Although I'm reading Jack Carr's book, Red Sky Morning, which is the 7th in the Terminal List series. And if you're a reader and you like action books, the Terminal List series is one of the best ones I've read. I really, really have enjoyed it. And I kind of waited a little bit to read this one because I knew when I was done, I had to wait for him to come out with another one.
I'll do that too.
And so I was like, okay, but it really has been a very, very good book. And there's a lot of talk about AI in it. And this morning, my IT guy, my office manager, Mark Cosgrove, and I were talking, and I was reading through, hint, Amanda, you should know some of these, for Thursday, the terms that are above terabytes and gigabytes.
All right.
So they have terms way, way, way out there because of the amount of information we're collecting.
Aren't those all the prefixes Greek?
I'm not going to help you. You just go find it.
All right.
It's easy to look up. It will help you immensely. Just like the 45th state is always going to be a question when Pete's in here on Thursday.
I thought you were going to steer away from, I didn't know you were going to give him a softball. I thought you were going to steer away from Utah questions. That's why I didn't say Utah.
He was so happy he got to dunk on that.
I know. Lenny and I were like, definitely not going to answer Utah on anything because he's not going to give us a Utah question. Yes. No.
It was right there.
Right above the plate.
And the key should have been, he was the last one that got to answer it.
Yeah.
You look around and go, sometimes he get like, if it's a Marine question, I try to make sure you're the last one that gets to answer that.
You always get excited and make me the first one, and then they all just say the same thing.
I try to make you the last one. I really try to. Yeah. Sometimes, though, you blurt out the answer when you're like, Amanda, that wasn't your turn.
I know. My bad.
Sometimes. Okay, there's all kinds of things that are going on today.
So much stuff going on.
So much stuff. First of all, locally, Blue Sky Surf Shop for 46 years had the Surf Report. This weekend, on the 46th anniversary, Dave McCree, the owner, one of the original owner, he and his wife Nancy originally owned Blue Sky. They opened in 1979. He's finally stopped doing the Surf Report.
What are you gonna do?
I am in mourning. I may be drinking, but I'm in serious mourning over the fact that it's gone.
End of an era.
Well, there was 3 years that
I've been alive.
There were 3 years that I didn't know that it existed.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't an avid surfer. I started surfing in 82, and you had to call in, and it could take like 10, 15 minutes sometimes to get through the line in the early days. Yes. And then then it went live on the internet. It was amazing. And then, when he got all his, he's one of the best photographers in town as far as surf photography. He's just absolutely amazing. The shots that he captures, the Blue Sky calendar, I've collected them. So I have a stack of them. One day when I'm dead, my kids are going to go through there and go, why did Dad keep all of these? But it's just really cool. They're awesome. They're just, it's amazing. So thank you, Dave McCree, for all the years of doing
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, I mean, every surfer in this town is indebted to him.
Yeah.
Really good friend of mine wrote a response back to him. I'm not going to read it. It's Mike Green. If you've met Mike, he's very good at writing and speaking. Usually when he comes in here, I get the day off.
Yeah.
But he's awesome. But this is where I was. And, and I can tell you there was a Surf Station didn't exist at the time. It came around in 84. But I walked into two places when I was first surfing. One was Tropical Mike's. And Mike Green and I became really good friends over the years and have stayed in touch and surfed just had a great time. Wonderful person and mentor. The other place that we walked into looking for surfboard equipments and stuff was Blue Sky. And Dave and Nancy, every time you ever walked in there, were just as happy and as nice and as friendly as they could be. You never felt like somebody was trying to take advantage of you. In fact, Mike's story was the first time he walked into Blue Sky from South Florida. He didn't have a wetsuit. And in the 70s and 80s, it was really, really cold here during the winter, not like it is now. And they rented him a wetsuit. And he brought it back, and they said, I was just hanging up. We weren't going to make any money off that today anyway. Don't worry about it. And he said that was his go-to place for years and years of buying anything. So anyway, just a wonderful story. Sad to see Blue Sky close. Glad that the surf report stayed on for a while. And now I have to go exclusively to, and Tori does a good job, and they've got cams and everything where you can look at the waves, but still miss the thermometer. Their thermometer was amazing. The top of the thermometer was call in sick, followed by call in dead.
Nice.
So yeah, when it got to call in dead, you knew you should be surfing.
Yeah.
Usually that's whenever I was out of town.
Always
out of town. So anyway, thank you, Blue Sky,
awesome,
for that. It is also March Madness. Have you filled out your bracket?
Of course I have. That was the first thing I did when March rolled around.
If I had scripted an answer for you, that would have been the answer. That was brilliant. That was excellent. I just want you to know.
Good. I'm glad.
Yes, we have a family bracket. All of my siblings and now all of the grandkids are in this thing pretty much with a bracket, and it is very, very competitive. My brother-in-law from Nashville named his bracket "Addicted to Winning." So, and he's won a couple of times.
Yeah.
But last year he filled out the wrong bracket. To which we said there was two different pools that you fill out, and he filled out the one that no one else filled out. And we're like, you can't claim victory because you filled out the one that nobody else filled out.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that. I may have to go fill out that one too, just to be safe. Maybe have a shot at beating him in the pool that no one else is playing.
That sounds like a move I would do.
Yeah, it's. But there's a belt. There's a WWE wrestling belt that gets passed around.
Your family?
The winner has to send it to the. It is absolutely. It's just the most fun.
Yeah.
So we have this huge group chat going on, and it's been fun already today.
If you win, will you wear the belt in studio?
If the belt it gets back to St. Augustine, if one of my boys wins, I will bring the belt in and show up. But it's just hilarious. It's just I think Jason, Addicted to Winning, as he's known during the tournament, is the one who started the belt.
Yeah.
There was what are we going to make an award? And Jason's like, oh no, I got the award. And so it was either him or Reese. I can't remember which one. And the two of them have won it, I think, the most since we've been doing the belt. But it's been hilarious.
Has anyone abbreviated Addicted to Winning yet?
Yeah, a few of us have, and we've kind of decided not to mess around too much with that. So yes, we try to be. There's a lot of younger people in the family text, so we're trying to keep it clean and classy. So yes.
So my daughter keeps asking if when she gets a cell phone, if I'm going to add her into the family group chats, because we have like my side of the family with my parents, my brother, and both my brother and my spouses, and then we have like my mom's side of the family with cousins and aunts, and she wants to get added to these group chats so bad. I'm like, no, because you're too young to know the kind of jokes I tell people.
Yeah,
you're not allowed.
No. There's other groups. Like I have just my siblings, and I feel so bad because Todd, my brother, leans more to the left, and Rhett's kind of in the middle. Courtney is hard right as I am at times. So the memes that were going around after the election, I think my brother, I give Todd credit for not tapping out of the meme, right? Tapping out of the group text, like, hey guys, I'm out. Yeah. But there was like less responses when we did that.
Yeah.
So there's a whole nother meme group that doesn't include him that gets.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
If it's a meme that someone that politically shares my beliefs would appreciate, but it's a little too salty for my mom's side of the family group chat, then I send it to Mike.
Listen, there was one in the office that we had a secretary that worked for us, and it's pretty rough.
Yeah. And
she left, and then they told me about this group chat, and I'm like, I could not have participated in that when she was an employee. So once she was out, I got included. They're like, okay, we're going to let you into the memes that we've been sending, but didn't share with you. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Thank you. I wouldn't have wanted to opt in for that reason.
No silent partner.
But that one's pretty pretty brutal. There's some good stuff that goes through that. And I told my brother, Todd, look, you don't have to get mad about it. You can chime in. I'm sure there's some funny memes on the left.
Yeah, somewhere.
I don't know where they are.
You should see like the group chat that I rarely hear anything about is my husband's jujitsu group chat. Every now and again, he'll share a meme with me from there. And it's very rare. They're always salty. I'm assuming those are the light ones.
Probably.
Because he does not share them all with me. But
my
the
problem
ones he
is
shares are funny.
I tend to tell Darcy everything. So a lot of times I'll be like, hey, you want to, and I'm like, no, you don't need to see this.
Yeah.
No. And she's like, is that something you should share with me or not? And I'm like, you're probably right. I won't share this one with you. I'll just keep this one to myself. So,
yeah.
Which is why she just doesn't get gut filled the way I do. Because he's just always making fun of people. It's like, he's just mean. And I'm like, but it's funny.
Yeah.
So, yes.
All right. It's St. Patrick's Day. I have a conspiracy theory that I think is brilliant that I found regarding leprechauns. Okay.
Give it to me.
All right. So leprechauns aren't an individual race.
Hang on one second. Kathy says they aren't secretary. Kathy, you're right. They're administrative assistants. They're also known as geniuses in the world because they get a lot of things done that people don't give them credit for. And my current bookkeeper office manager, which used to be called administrative assistant or secretary, is my cousin's wife. And she's awesome. She's wonderful. So, yes. Yep. Okay.
All right. So leprechauns aren't their own individual race.
Yes.
There is a conspiracy theory, which I think is hilarious, and I totally agree with, that they are the fired elves from Santa's workshop that are just loose cannons. They're always drunk. So they got fired from Santa's workshop. They headed south and ended up in Ireland dressed in green and start wreaking havoc and mischief all over.
It's a pretty good theory.
They're drunken ex-elves.
It's as
Santa's
good
elves.
as anything that I've heard. I have heard, though, if you want to see a leprechaun on a porch tonight, you should go down to Riberia Street.
There it is. Right there.
It's right there.
Yeah.
You guys will figure it out.
I thought we had broken him of the feet pics because we were sharing them on the show.
No.
Another one at TPC. A TPC feet pic.
No. Those things are so hideous.
It's great.
They're awful. Also today, if you were anywhere near the downtown, I saw something today that I've never seen.
Yeah.
I was coming north on US 1. I was almost to Castillo, and the traffic was completely backed up in the right-hand lane. I thought it was an accident. It was backed up past the Upchurch Bailey and Upchurch Law Firm and almost all the way to Orange Street. And I eventually was able to get over in the left lane. And then I realized I didn't need to get in the left lane, but for a half a block, all the people were trying to make a right-hand turn on Castillo to get into the parking garage. And the line to get into the parking garage had backed up Castillo onto US 1, waiting for people to turn it.
Nice.
I was like, that's a solid parking garage.
You know why?
It's spring break.
And St. Patrick's Day.
And
St. Augustine was the first U.S. city to have a St. Patrick's Day commemoration.
Of course it was.
It originated here.
Yes.
1600s. We had
one Irish guy started the whole thing.
St. Patrick was evidently the patron saint of some agriculture fields in this area as well.
Okay.
People were real big St. Patrick fans in this area.
Listen, there's a lot of Catholics here. So, and a lot of people the English were not nice to the Irish.
No.
Not at all. So I've got English ancestors and I have Irish ancestors, German ancestors. And I always like, if you want to know why I'm in such a bad mood, it's because internally I'm still fighting with all of my ancestors who fought with each other. So yeah, the Irish were not nice, or the English were not nice to the Irish or the Scottish.
Yes.
At all.
Yes. Yeah, I'm English, Irish, and Scottish as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
A lot of conflict going on there.
Internal struggles.
A lot of internal struggles. Trying to decide who's mad at whom and for what reason.
Self-loather.
So, yes. All right.
Yes, Bobby, I got all my plants planted. Well, I didn't personally, but I had my staff do it.
My staff too. She has a secretary, too. And apparently it's okay to call your husband your secretary.
I'm the secretary.
Well, who's your staff?
He's my muscle. I'm the secretary. He's the muscle.
He's not the muscle. He's the brute squad.
The brute squad.
You know the brute squad's from?
Yes.
Yes.
I do, Princess Bride.
Yes.
Call the Brute Squad.
Call the
I'm
Brute
on the
Squad.
Brute Squad. You are the Brute Squad.
I had to go pick up signs today for one of our clients for a job site. And I get there. There's two ladies that are working there. They're like, hey, they didn't leave us any men today to help you. I'm like, you don't need any men. You got me. I'm good. And fortunately, they weren't plywood signs. They were the really lightweight stuff. Yeah. And I was like, I just picked all three of them and loaded them in the truck. I said, I've been doing this my whole life. I'm good. I made it look like it was heavy, but I love
how you said you don't need men. You have me.
You have me. You don't need any men. You got me. I got this.
Doesn't that mean you're something other than man?
No. You got me. You got me.
So you don't need men, plural. You have man, singular.
You have a man. You got me. Okay. I can handle this.
All right.
I got it. I was just very grateful they were late.
Yeah.
Because I boasted before I knew what they weighed. Mm-hmm. But I was like, I'll get them in the truck now. I don't care if they weigh 2 tons apiece. I will get them in the truck. So, yeah.
You are a hardworking man.
I was going to get it done. It was an opportunity to stand up for my gender, and I did.
You did.
I did.
Well, I need your reaction to something that I heard from someone in your gender, and I don't like it, but I want to see what you think.
I think I know where you're going with this because we did 30 seconds of show prep, and this was 20 seconds of it. So fire away.
So I wanted to ask you on Thursday when everybody was here, but we couldn't fit it in. So on the Pivot podcast, which I believe is a podcast run by retired sports guys, like high-level professional athletes that are retired. I believe that's what the Pivot podcast is. So Anthony Mackie, current Captain America, he is on this podcast. And he goes on a rant about how it has suddenly occurred to him that success is not earned. You can't earn success. Success is given. Mm-hmm. I want to know your thoughts, sir.
So I watched more than just that. Uh-huh. So Anthony Mackie, when Captain America and the Red Hulk thing was coming out, someone asked him a question about being a black Captain America, right? And he really downplayed Captain America as a whole. Yeah. Just in my mind, completely flubbed the answer.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford, however,
gave a great answer.
Yeah. Now, the question I don't know that you saw is they asked Anthony Mackie about being a dad. And he said, I'm raising my young men to be good men. And then I think this whole thing about men being toxic was horrible for men in general, and men are supposed to do the things. I have a son that's the oldest in the family, and when I'm gone, he has to text me every morning when he gets up that everybody's okay, and he texts me at night that all the alarms are on and everything's been done, because that's his job. He's the man of the house when I'm not there. And he talked about going over to Europe and looking at how men look in Europe versus how American men look, and the swagger and the swag that American men have. I'm like, this answer
end the podcast there.
Gets you millions of more people butts in the theater seats to watch your show, because that's the answer you should have given.
Yeah.
And the people on the podcast were applauding him, and he was all proud. And I'm like, that's the answer you should be giving all the time.
Yes.
You know, you want men to be good men, and you want to raise young men that are willing to sacrifice themselves, not just for their family, but for others. And we're missing that, right? When we tell men you're toxic and you're this and all the other stuff. So, so when I watched that, I was like, first of all, I had to watch it twice because I didn't quite believe it that he said it. And I was like, did I miss something in here? It was actually an entire segment on Gutfeld from Friday.
Yeah.
If you get a chance, go back and watch that. Some of the comments that the guests had about it were pretty amazing too. But probably the best take was Gutfeld himself. He said he had to have been given a script to read for the promotional interviews for Captain America.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, we don't want to build up the Captain America. Just downplay the whole thing. And then after he did that, he realized, boy, I really blew this. And then he goes on this podcast and just slam dunks on, being a good man.
Yeah.
So, so that's kind of what I saw. But
so no reaction to the idea that success is given and not earned?
I think the success is, in some cases, it is given and it's not earned. And I think when that happens, it never means anything. So I had some friends I went to college with that had very little money and had to work for their cars and did an amazing job. I had other friends that were given really, really nice cars. 4 or 5 years later, the really, really nice cars weren't in as good a shape. They didn't pay for it,
Yeah.
so they didn't understand the value of it. And I'm not knocking them. They're good friends of mine.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't understand the value of it. Now, later in life, if you ask them, hey, would you go back and redo that? They probably would all say, yeah, I would have treated that car completely differently.
Yeah.
But when you had to work for something and you had to make payments on it during the summer, you felt an attachment to that because you'd earned it, as opposed to like, well, I'll get another one down the road. So anyway, I'm not meaning to knock my friends. I think a lot of people are like that. And if somebody gives you something too quickly, you never really appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's much better when you earn it.
Yeah, it's the whole idea. If you have something of value, charge something for it, because people won't interact with it. They won't appreciate it if you just give it to them for free. Unless they've got a little skin in the game, they won't.
So glad Troy Blevins is not here for this conversation today.
That must be a joke I don't get.
No, but I'll tell you later.
All right.
You'll figure it out.
All right.
You'll figure it out.
I'm not sure if he's going double entendre or if there's a backstory there that I missed.
No. It's just, no, but for something to have meaning, you have to have earned it.
Yeah.
If somebody gives you things, it's not the same thing. You can appreciate the gift, but I don't think you ever really appreciate as much. You know, we all had things when we were young. If your parents were good parents, they said, I'm going to make you earn that. Right. So my story about not appreciating something, I was given a bicycle and I was told to lock my bike up. I didn't. It got stolen. My parents made me walk for half a summer. We got out of school early June. I walked until my birthday in July. That next bike was locked all the time.
Yeah.
Because I now understood the value of that bike. I had to walk without it everywhere I wanted to go for 6-7 weeks. And then when I finally got a bike, I was like, this is awesome. It's never not going to be locked up.
Yeah.
So that was
I still remember the first expensive to me piece of clothing that I ever bought myself. And I saw it in a catalog. It was this long linen skirt. It was like $100 for a skirt. And I had never bought anything outside of like, maybe $20 jeans and $10 t-shirts myself. But I saved my tip money from waiting tables and, bought that skirt. I still remember it. I still remember how proud I was to have it. And I took really good care of it, and it got destroyed in the washing machine, and I was devastated. It was like a couple of years later, but it did ultimately get destroyed by a washing machine. That one hurt me.
Yeah, we had a washing machine that destroyed so much. It was one of the front load, not the top load.
Yeah.
And everything that was a bra with straps, a t-shirt that Darcy would wear, anything that had a drawstring in it, it would get caught in this. It was the worst design possible.
Oh,
and I finally just said, we're losing so much clothes. We'll just go buy another washing machine or dryer. Maybe it was a dryer.
Yeah.
So now it's like, I won't touch a front load dryer. It's like, then the appliance guy came in and said, oh, let me tell you what you got to do. You got to clean this part and that part and this part. I'm like, so I go in now, I want a tank. I want something that cleans clothes, that doesn't destroy clothes. That's what I want. I want just a tank.
Speed Queen?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly
I
it.
have a Speed Queen too.
It's all I want. Just give me something that's old school. Well, don't you need a button to tell you this? I don't need it. The least amount of buttons as possible on it is all I need.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I got a front loader as well when I was a newlywed. We were in our first home and it was so exciting. And that thing was an absolute piece of garbage and it died. And we ended up with 3 washing machines over the span of the first 5-6 years of our marriage because the front loader died. Then we inherited like some washing machine that was taken out of a rental and it had a big old hole in the tank. As long as you didn't overfill the water, it was okay. But my mom would always come and overfill the water and flood our house.
I'm going to tell you, we bought a lot of new appliances in the early 2000s. And I think that's whenever a lot of this manufacturing got moved out of the United States to other places. None of those appliances lasted.
It was also energy efficiency standards. So they had to make parts out of cheaper materials to ship them cheaper because they weren't as heavy, and front loaders were water efficient. And so that's when quality of a wash out of a washing machine went down the drain, literally, because they're not using enough water to wash away the bacteria.
Yeah.
And so then you're just washing your clothes constantly in bacteria-riddled water. If your tank smells like mildew, it's because there's bacteria in there. And it's getting all over your clothes.
Yeah.
It's nasty.
It's not good.
No.
Okay. This is also This is where we're going to get in trouble. We're going to do it anyway.
Yay!
Right? This is the 5-year anniversary of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So 5 years ago, I think we all got locked down on the 13th, which would have been last Thursday.
Mm-hmm. It was later than that. And I can tell you why I know.
You tell me why you know, and I tell you it's March 13th. It was a Friday. Trump walked into the Rose Garden and shut the entire country down.
So it was the first year in our new house.
Yes.
And I had gotten this, like my husband and I each got a splurge for moving into our house. And my splurge was this super fancy Christmas tree, 9-foot tall Christmas tree.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't take down our Christmas decorations until after Epiphany. And that was my first year running a homeschool community, and homeschool started back before Epiphany. So our Christmas decorations stayed up forever, and it became a joke. And so my goal was my Christmas tree was going to be down before St. Patrick's Day. And so I got it down, and the next day the world shut down.
Okay. So March 11th is, what day do you say it started?
I think the post on Facebook about my Christmas tree being gone was on either, I thought it was the 13th, but it might have been the 12th.
Of March. Yes, it was the 13th. So on March 11th is when the where's Levi when you need him? The World Health Organization declared a pandemic. On the 13th, that Friday, is when Trump walked out. And I know because I was down in Costa Rica trying to convince the friend of mine, hey, don't worry, Trump will never shut the country down. And we came back from surfing that morning, and all of a sudden, Trump walks out in the Rose Garden and says, we're shutting the country down. And I went, well, this is going to go. And then we came back on the 17th. We flew back. And that was 12 minutes off the plane through customs and immigration. I mean, I was carrying a nuclear bomb, and they're like, just come on through. Let's go.
That's not bad.
It was really amazing. They wanted nothing to do with anybody. Everybody was afraid of it. It was just like, just get on through. And then
we touched no one.
We went to get on the plane to Jacksonville from Houston.
Yeah.
And a guy's carry-on was a 24-pack of toilet paper. Sign
of the time.
I thought it was respiratory. Yes.
Yeah. Well, it turns out there were GI symptoms with the vid.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the thing. So then I apologized to the whole world and said, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't know my Christmas tree was holding the entire planet together.
Yeah. So anyway, it was the 13th.
All right.
In my mind, and that's kind of what I'm going with, because I still remember the trip.
Mm-hmm.
I remember getting yelled at by my sister because I wasn't coming home on the next flight. And that was the weekend everybody was coming home from Europe.
Yeah.
And I was like, nope, Monday's the 16th. I'll be home on Tuesday the 17th. I'll be just fine.
Yeah.
There was no one in the airport at all.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I remember going down to Costa Rica, and I had the wet wipes, and I was like handing them to people around me. We were like making our own safe zone on the plane. I was laughing. It's like, if you had handed a wet wipe to somebody the year before, they would have thought you were an idiot.
Yeah.
And people were like, can I have one? Can I have one? Can I have one? Sure. Here you go.
You're out here dealing wet wipes.
I was. Yeah, I got a wet wipe. It's like the guy.
Funny.
It's like the guy from Sesame Street. Want to buy a wet wipe?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite the fun. But anyway, that was 5 years ago. Very interesting. New York Times wrote an article. Basically, this is hilarious that it's from the New York Times. Zenepi Tefukia, I can't pronounce her name. We were badly misled about the events that changed our lives.
Really?
Amazing.
If only there were people that were out there saying, hey, guys, maybe you should do this because what you're hearing is false.
Talking about how the speculation over a lab leak was suppressed.
Really?
Yeah, did she read the New York Times during the time period 5 years ago?
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if she wrote any of these stories 5 years ago.
I don't know that she did. She looks pretty young in this picture. I mean, I give her credit for this. I don't know how old she is, but she looks like she's 12 in this picture.
Okay.
So she might be like a new person who doesn't remember that. Maybe she's still in high school. but it just talks about the things that maybe the public was misled on. Mm-hmm. Talking about all the scientists that came out and, oh no, it's impossible. It's from a wet market.
Yeah.
The show that had the best one, South Park.
Yeah.
South Park had the best take on where it came from.
Yeah.
If you've ever watched South Park, you can look it up, or you can Google it, or you saw the episode with the pangolin and I'm trying to remember what.
Well, because they were talking about, we've sequenced it, and it has bat and pangolin origins, and so the idea was that there were pangolins and bats in this wet market that were like stacked on top of each other, and somehow their germs, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Because it's definitely not from the lab on respiratory illnesses in that town. Zero chance.
So you get to the end of this article after a few dogged journalists, small nonprofit pursuing freedom of information requests, and an independent group of researchers brought these issues to light, followed by a congressional investigation, the Biden administration finally banned EcoHealth from all federal grants for 5 years. That's a start. The CIA recently updated its assessment to say that it was likely the origin was a lab leak. I'll bet with low confidence, right? And then this is the best, though. This is the New York Times. Still to this day, there's no strong scientific evidence ruling out a lab leak or proving that the virus arose from a human-animal contact in that seafood market. The few papers cited for market origin were written by a small, overlapping group of authors, including those who didn't tell the public how serious their doubts had been. Only an honest conversation can lead us forward. The same paper that wanted people banned for proposing the lab leak now wants an honest conversation.
Didn't Ron DeSantis have a roundtable discussion with a bunch of doctors actually treating patients during COVID? And didn't that get banned and scrubbed from the internet?
Yeah. This is great. The last paragraph. We may not know exactly how COVID pandemic started, but if research activities were involved, that would mean that 2 out of the last 4 or 5 pandemics were caused by our own scientific mishaps. Let's not make it a 3rd.
It's almost like Jurassic Park was never made. It's almost like there's no hint.
Have you not watched any science fiction movie?
Ever?
When it goes bad and the scientist is like, oops, I didn't know that would happen.
I Am Legend.
I didn't know I was gonna make zombies. Omega Man. Go back to there. Charlton Heston.
Oh my word.
The original I Am Legend. So
I heard it's not uncommon for after animals are used in research, i.e. infected with lots of diseases in labs in China, or once they deem that animal done and they can't use it anymore, they just take it home and eat it.
Now that's a new theory that I haven't heard.
I've
not heard that one.
I have friends in animal research.
I've not heard that one.
They said that that's not an uncommon practice.
I haven't heard that one. That's new to me.
I can't imagine thinking, oh, that thing I just infected with Ebola, that looks delicious. Yep. I'm sure if you cook it at a high enough temperature, everything will be fine.
Bobby's remembering the epic Pete rant about following directions in the grocery store. Yeah. I can remember walking like 4 feet down an aisle to grab something and people giving me the biggest stink eye. And I was like, it's 4 feet down the aisle. I'm not going to go all the way around the other end of the aisle and walk down it. It's less contact with people. Get over it. So, yes. All right. So listen, you lab people, don't eat the animals.
Don't eat your subjects.
Don't eat the stuff. First of all, some of that stuff needs to be banned. Yeah. So, yes.
Ew.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It is 5 questions.
It is 5
questions. It is 5. We have 5 questions on Monday. The only other thing I had, we talked about Hollywood. We talked about that. Oh, winning. If you're like most of you are, because I love you out there. So I took a nap today, this afternoon before the show. And I woke up and I looked at one of my favorite websites to just make sure things were going right. I'd been out for 15, 20 minutes. I'm like, okay, let me make sure we're good. The TV networks are comparing controversial deportations of illegal aliens who've committed crimes to the Japanese internment.
Really?
Keep doing it. Just keep doing it. You guys are making yourselves the biggest bunch of idiots I've ever seen. Keep doing it. Don't
In
stop.
other news, Japanese Americans turned to the Republican Party in droves.
Just keep doing it. The other one was
Why?
that MSNBC this morning on Morning Joe, the panel blames unchecked disinformation for Dems' awful favorability.
Really?
How about it stemmed from gas prices, egg prices, food prices, inflation? Let's just say it started there. You guys ignored it. You told us all these things that it wasn't.
This story might have something to do with it too.
Yes. Yeah. You guys had your shot at telling us the truth and you didn't do it. It might also have something to do with the fact that Morning Joe said that Joe Biden was the sharpest, best Joe Biden he's ever been.
Yeah.
Weeks before he had to remove himself after his disastrous debate with Donald Trump. The best Biden he's ever been. So, Joe, kiss our rear ends. You haven't gotten anything right in years. You're still not getting anything right. You stink.
Wait, it's St. Patrick's Day. Kiss my shamrocks.
Yes, kiss our shamrocks. There you go. That's it. Yeah, that you guys now don't have the ability to censor people who are telling the truth is what your problem is.
Yeah.
That's your problem. You can't lie the way you used to be able to lie.
Yeah.
Because telling America that Joe Biden was the best Joe Biden, either one, you were an abject liar, or two, you were an idiot.
Yeah.
You pick. You pick. You were one of those two.
There aren't very many other.
You're either a liar or you were an idiot.
Yes.
So you figure that out.
Speaking of lies and dishonest media.
Yes.
Do you remember the story about a Trump rally in Howell and NPR speculating that he chose Howell for a rally because it had a storied history with the Klan? Do you remember that story?
No, I just remember the Madison Square Garden rally because it was a Nazi rally. And, hey, that worked great for you guys. It really did.
So
lost you an election all the way across the board.
Have fun
Do
with
it
that
again.
one.
Do it again.
So there was a reporter in NPR that started this speculation about how, why would he pick Howell? It's a 10,000 person town. Like, it's so random that he picked Howell. Maybe it's because they have long, complicated ties with the KKK.
Yeah.
And there was just a white supremacist rally the month before. Very interesting that he chose Howell for one of his MAGA rallies. That reporter is the one that hit him in the face with the microphone.
Oh, I saw that it was a young lady working for NPR that had really a lot of posts about disliking Donald Trump. I expect her not to be in the White House covering them much longer.
Yeah, she privated all of her accounts.
Too late for that.
So the question is...
The internet never forgets.
Never, ever, ever. And the thing
so
is...
if Joe Biden or Joe Scarborough is giving the Truth Award, they can replay what I just said, and it's never going away.
And so people saw which mic it was, and then they looked at the distant shots from that interaction, and they figured out which reporter it was, and then figured out from that. So yeah, that's who it was. So the question is, was it on accident?
No.
Or was it on purpose?
I listen, I don't think she did it. I think she saw an opportunity to maybe tweak him with it. She's like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
It was her duty. It was her patriotic duty to save democracy.
Like all of the people who are patriotically keying Teslas because they don't know that they have cameras around all of their angles.
I got to give it to Musk. No one has said this as far as I know, but he comes out and everybody on the left wants to buy a Tesla. And there's a lot of people on the left that have bought a Tesla to prove their point that they are going to stop climate change, the existential crisis in our lifetime, right? Now they don't want their Teslas. But people on the right are now in love with Elon Musk. He has Michael Jordan this moment. He has managed to sell Teslas to two groups that are diametrically opposed to one another. But now you're going to start seeing my friends buying Teslas because they're like, I got to support Elon Musk.
Yeah.
It's great. Also, on another good news, Fannie Willis was ordered to pay $54,000 for intentionally violations in the Trump case.
That's great.
I love winning.
It's so
I just
much
love winning. It's just This is what the first Trump administration was supposed to be. I had to go through that agony. Then I had to go through what we all went through for 4 years, was just misery to get to this point where it's like, okay, we're winning again.
Yep.
It's just nice to be winning again.
Well, everybody spoke it into reality. So Trump was trying to be the guy that everyone loved. And that's why his first term was kind of lackluster for the people that were super excited. I mean, it was better than what we had seen in the past, better than what we thought might happen maybe, but it wasn't what we had really hoped for in our hearts. And then, you know, the Biden thing happens, and then the Democrats over the course of 8 years spoke this Trump into reality. And I'm going to have to send them cookies.
Yeah.
Trump cookies from Lachelle's Bakery in Pennsylvania, but I'm going to have to send them to cookies.
Yes. There's a whole bunch of discussion about Nights of Lights.
Yes.
I'm going to see if I can get somebody from the city to come on and talk about Nights of Lights.
Yeah.
Before the next city commission meeting, which is either tonight or next week, maybe. It's next week. So I'll see if I can get somebody on to come talk about that. Okay, 5 questions. We got 10 minutes. It's a speed round.
We can do this.
Yep.
Favorite song by an Irish band?
Still haven't found what I'm looking for by U2.
All right. I am If You Ever Leave This World Alive by Flogging Molly.
Okay.
I love that song.
I was going to say anything by Riverdance, but
you would probably like that song now that I think about it. If I ever leave this world alive, I think you'd like the philosophy of it.
I'll have to get it and I'll listen to it tonight.
It's fun.
Okay. I might listen to it while I'm in my ice bath tonight.
Okay.
All right. Next question.
Having a whiskey. Would you ever travel to Ireland?
Yeah, it's on our list. We're going to Scotland this year. Ireland is on the list.
Yeah.
I want to go back. I want to, some of our family has gone back to the area where we originated from as Toners. And so I want to go back and look at that. We're actually going back to Darcy's, she's a McKinnon. They were from the Isle of Skye and the Isle of Tiree. And we're actually going to get a chance to go to both of those locations. So
that's awesome.
Really excited about that.
I want to go as well for the same reasons. I have Irish and Scottish heritage. I also have English heritage. So I kind of like to do a tour so I could see like all of my ancestral homes.
Yeah.
All right, my last one. Are you a food St. Patty's Day person or a drinks St. Patty's Day person?
I got to tell you, I think one of the things that we escaped from is the food in Ireland and European foods.
Especially British Isles.
as somebody with a solidly American stomach.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the only when I had hiking on in the Grand Canyon, the only thing I could think of is getting out of the Grand Canyon and getting to a cheeseburger and some fries. Yeah. And so, get me. I like America. I know when I go on that trip, I'll probably lose 5 pounds.
Yeah.
Because I've talked to people about, the food that's there. And I'm going to try all the cuisine and stuff, but I'm sure haggis is not going to be something I come home and go, hey, Darcy, let's make haggis when we get back home. So, yeah.
No. You've heard the joke from So I Made an Axe Murderer?
No.
He goes to a butcher around the world. She specializes in meats from different regions, and she has the Scottish flag out there. So he goes in to get a haggis for his very, very proud Scottish dad. And she asks him, have you ever actually eaten a haggis? And he says, no, I think it's disgusting. I think all Scottish cuisine is based on a dare.
Yeah.
And I think that tracks.
Listen, I'm not.
Although bangers and mash, I can do bangers and mash.
I'll let you know. All right. Because we're going to be there. All right. So this is kind of going back to the COVID thing. What's the dumbest thing you did 5 years ago? So for me, I remember once or twice we wiped down all the groceries with wipes.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, I looked at Darcy and said, this is ridiculous. There's nothing living on this. I mean, because there were times like this surface could contain COVID for 75 years. I'm like, I don't really think this surface can. I mean, so that was it. That one didn't last long for us. It's like, this just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So that one made 0 sense whatsoever. What about you?
Probably complied with the mask thing. I mean, and made my kids do it when we were out for a while. And as soon as DeSantis said you can't force somebody, we all ripped those bad boys right off.
So I will agree with that, because you're like, okay, we got to do something. So it was, but I looked at, of all people, Anthony Fauci in January. You don't need a mask. Mask won't do any good. Then you got to be triple mask, double mask, quadruple mask, whatever it was.
He told 3 different stories.
Yeah, it was like, okay, you guys really don't know what you're doing. But then when you thought about it, it really wasn't helping you, because the masks weren't stopping anything from passing through because of the size of the virus. So when you had these discussions or you saw people smoking and exhaling the smoke and how much of the smoke was coming out, that, did it slow down some particulates? Yeah. Did it stop them all? No. Did it stop from getting? No, it didn't. Obviously, it didn't stop the spread because everybody got it.
Yeah.
So what stopped the spread was everybody getting it, right? Yeah. Okay. So
Which is what we all said.
Yeah. So for me, that was the dumbest thing I could possibly.
We wore masks just as a kindness to others. And that's the way we talked about it with our family, because we have a lot of people in our family that have a medical background. So masks work if you use proper masking protocol. Medical staff are trained on proper masking protocol because it's not as easy as just slapping a mask on your face. And so I look at people wholesale buying masks, wearing them over and over again, especially the reusable ones, without ever sanitizing them, because most people's washing machines can't get hot enough to sanitize a mask. Then they started doing swabs on masks, especially the masks that were in kids' backpacks, because they had to wear masks to school.
And how many germs were in the mask?
And there were like 8 different germs that were far more deadly to kids than the vid. And it was insane. And so, masks work if you do them properly. Nobody was doing them properly, so they hurt us more than they helped us. It's stupid.
Put a reminder in next week. We're asking dumbest thing you did 25 years ago. Because I want to hear what Barbara Jean has to say.
All right.
So that's a question next week, Barbara Jean. We're gonna
think about it, Barbara Jean.
All right. So what's the smartest thing you did involved with COVID?
When we got the opportunity to reschedule our trip to Mexico from April to August, we did it and we went.
Yes.
That was amazing. We had this gorgeous palatial resort almost entirely to ourselves because nobody was traveling. And so August 2020, my family was in Mexico and having just a fantastic time.
So the smartest thing I did is Darcy and I had a conversation during this. I said, look, I'm not going to let this become a mental disease. I'm not losing my mind over this.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of critical thinking and discussion about it. It's like some of the stuff that was absolutely ridiculous. I was talking to Ethan, my son, today, because he had moved back from Tampa with us and then gone down in June to empty his apartment out and went out with some buddies. That's when DeSantis reopened everything back up.
Yeah.
And got sick, got COVID, brought it back home. He had it in the house. We didn't know he had it for a week. But he went and get tested, right? He had testing was early in its infancy.
Yeah.
They sent him a letter, but they also had somebody come to the house to deliver the letter personally. And I'm like, how stupid is this?
Yeah.
You've got one person delivering positive test results to all these people around the county that are sick. This is the dumbest thing I could possibly, I was like, you got to be kidding me.
It's like the one doctor that stays back when there's a crazy yellow fever outbreak.
So I was like, this is it. The other one is I never wore a mask while driving a motorcycle.
Didn't do that
without
either.
A helmet. No helmet.
But a mask.
I'm
yes.
But I'm wearing it. It's like there's some of the stuff you saw, you're like, man, people have lost their mind. So I tried to keep it from becoming a mental illness inside our house. And I also quit listening to what I quickly realized were people that claimed to be experts who had no expertise that was going to help me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was mine.
Yeah, I didn't forget what I learned in biology just because people were screaming. And so, yeah. So we had real conversations with my kids. I think the smartest thing, honestly, like the real answer is that we didn't freak out our kids. For my kids, world was the normal. They kept doing school. They kept playing with friends, the friends that were allowed to still play. They played with their friends. They had sleepovers. They had hangouts. Their life didn't change at all.
Yeah.
And so kids have crazy anxiety right now, and they have like social stunting, and they fell behind in school because they were terrified about this thing that was never a threat to them.
Yes.
Because children weren't in danger.
No.
Could they get it? Yes, absolutely. And as long as they had zero comorbidities, then they were going to be fine.
Yeah, they were much more at risk during the H1N1 virus, which went through the country during the Obama administration. But because it was the Obama administration and it dealt with kids, surprisingly, the media didn't get it. So
the reason Isabella had a passport as a newborn, like her first passport picture was like 2 months old, was because we were, again, supposed to go to Mexico and H1N1 shut down that Mexico trip.
Mm-hmm.
And so the airlines gave us dollar for dollar, let us reschedule without penalty. And so my husband and I used our ticket to get ourselves and my mom a ticket to New York City.
Yeah.
And Isabella was obviously young enough that she could ride in our lap.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did a New York City trip.
So
that was a lot of fun.
We did a lot of surf trips.
Mm-hmm.
The testing protocol was very interesting when it first started. But Barbara Jean, we will amend the question to 35 years ago. We'll take, and if you think of any other questions, Barbara Jean, you would like us to ask, just send those to Amanda or me, and we'll get them.
If you have a 5 questions question you want us to do Monday,
send it in.
Yes, email it to MikeDavisShow@gmail.com.
Yep.
And any wild outfits you want us to see if Troy would wear.
And Kathy's comment about people wear masks in cars by themselves in a car. I still see that about once a month.
Yeah,
about once a month, I see someone who should be at the hospital for the criminally insane driving a car with a mask. To this day, I'm like,
it's crazy.
Oh my God, is that a bad habit you can't
And
take?
it's always dirty. It's always like probably the mask they were given for free in 2020. And so who knows what kind of bugs and critters and nastiness are in that thing.
I will tell you this. I did think every night I went home and had a bourbon, I would be in better shape.
Yeah.
Then I read an article about how the bloodstream and the lungs and the oxygen, they don't cross over. And I was like, I'm pretty sure it gets there. I'm pretty sure.
That's why you inhale it. That's why you need
right.
something like bourbon, because as long as you're inhaling the aroma.
That's it. That's what I said. I was good for almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
The smartest thing, Bobby, we had a trip planned. Darcy and I were going to either go to Australia to visit our daughter in the fall of 19 or the spring of 20.
Yeah.
And we picked the fall of 19. So just dumb luck there that we got to go. And then Darcy retired in the spring of 19. So as we sat through the spring of 20 and all of her teacher friends were trying to learn how to do online learning and all this other stuff, she would just look at me every night and go, I'm just so glad I am not teaching.
She told me at that time.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm so glad Mike talked me into retiring early and we went on our trip already.
Yes. All right.
Because she had turned me down for being a Sunday school teacher because she was traveling.
Do we have Davey on tomorrow? Do we have a guest with Davey tomorrow? Or is this just going to be an unabridged Davey show? I don't have anything on the calendar telling me there's a guest coming in, which means this could be an unabridged Davey show.
Oh my word.
Which, oh my gosh, we should charge double for those. Everyone's
hungover from St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
Unhinged. I don't know. It's probably. We don't wait. Valencia Dental's not tomorrow, right?
I don't know. They might be. They might not be. We'll find out. We'll check with. We'll check with Davey. We'll find out. Tune into the morning show. I hope that they're unmuted because they really are entertaining when they're talking and you can hear them. So
they're pretty entertaining.
They're pretty good. They're good guys. All right, you guys have a great night, and we will see you tomorrow.
Bye.